Matt, you want to
Mr.
start us
Chairman?
off, please?
Mr. Chairman, our hearings regarding, I don't have the agenda in front of me, but regarding, I believe it's 276 Lakeview and 96 Menominee Road East. Requesting a motion to continue voting. The applicants will be in at the March 9th meeting when we're estimating the DEP numbers to come in.
Put that in one motion?
Yes, you can.
I'll make a motion to
Second.
chair till March 9th on the
6:05.
76 Lakeview Drive and 96 Menominee Road East.
Now, we have another continued hearing.
We have to vote on that.
Huh?
We have to vote on that before we go on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's made and David seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Yeah, that was my fault, sorry about that, guys. So, Mr. Deline sent Nicole an email saying he wanted to be on the agenda for this meeting tonight. So, I'm assuming he's gonna be coming in soon, because it's just 6 o'clock now. But while we're waiting for him, because he's the only item we got left, if you guys wanted to vote on the minutes, and I've got 3 certificates of compliance. Actually 4, but 2 of them are from the same property, just different lots. So, I've got the minutes right here if you guys wanted to vote and sign off on them. In the meantime, I can start on the certificate.
Okay, if you've had a chance to go over the minutes, I'd like to entertain a vote to approve the minutes for January 12th, 2023.
The motion to approve the minutes as written.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. What certificates of compliance for, Matt?
Well, we've got 2 certificates of compliance for lots on Eagle Drive. This is Eagle Drive and Cardinal Lane. They're very old orders of conditions. I mean, I went and looked over the orders, I looked over the properties. Excuse me, 5 Cardinal, actually, the order doesn't even apply to it because it was out of the buffer zone, but a lot of these lots probably had the order tagged onto it when the subdivision was approved, even the lots that aren't within it. 5 Cardinal was one of them, so it does show on their deed. This is a very, very old project. File number 345-44. That's how far back it goes. The orders were issued in... This one says 2018, but I know it was sooner than that, but this is a very old file.
Okay.
So I've got 2 of them. They're the same file number. -44 for 105 Eagle and 5 Cardinal.
Can you just quickly refresh our memory what Eagle Drive was?
Eagle Drive was a subdivision. I forget how many lots it was, but it was made up of Eagle Drive and Cardinal Lane. And it's been long since done.
Any discussion on Eagle Drive or Cardinal Lane? Entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance that we're looking for.
Yes, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
That. I've got 2 more. This one is 345-0502 for 46 Willoughby Ave. It was for Joseph Paul, who was the former owner. It was for a sewer line. That's all that was, for the replacement of a sewer line that was in the buffer zone.
How old is that one?
This one was 2005.
So it's done. So it's done. I'm sure it meets compliance, or it would have been, we would have heard about it.
Yeah,
There's
and
your other paperwork
I
here.
usually just go buy these lots anyways, just to see what's going on. in case there was something that was done over and above what was initially approved. How sometimes things just grow, so I gotta take a look at it just in case.
So this is,
Oh, this is the other one on 5 Cardinal Lane. It's 502.
I get a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 156 Hamilton Street. I'm sorry, Willoughby Ave. It's 46 Willoughby Ave is the project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
So I think that's it. This one might be a superfluous.
What is that, Eagle?
This one I think is a superfluous one. What do we have an agenda out here? Oh. There were 2 of them for Cardinal Lane. This is also Cardinal Lane.
Part of the same project?
It was for something along the house. I forget exactly what it was, to be honest with you, but-
Your old subdivision.
Yeah. Yeah, that particular lot had 2 orders that showed up on it for some reason, and I forget what the reason was on that one. All I remember thinking in my head was it was pretty minor. So it could have been like a deck addition or something like that. It was very, very minor. I know the old one you signed was for the actual house construction. Thank you. Well, I guess while we're still waiting. Hi.
Hey, Linda.
So I guess while we're still waiting, you guys had the rail trail item on the agenda,
Yes.
but Justin isn't able to make it. He wanted me to just let you guys know that there is a grant that has been put in place, and I believe that there's some engineering work that he's having completed. Other than that, there really hasn't been much going on.
Where is it going from? Whereabouts of it?
That I do not know.
The rail trail,
Yeah,
it's going from alongside of Bell Tate's all the way up to Jackson Avenue. And then from Jackson Avenue.
Down that old cart road?
Yeah.
We've got Community Preservation Act, vote of support for the Community Preservation Act.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on that? I'll do the best to answer them. Since I'm on the committee, the exploratory committee.
I do. I have questions on it. I think I missed the meeting when it was first brought up. I don't know anything about it.
CPA?
Is that the one we did the PowerPoint on, back about 8 months ago?
Power plant on the NPIC and the CPA.
And my concern on that one, back when we brought it up about 8 months ago, was there was a general fund that was like 3/4 of the pie. and
Yeah.
I had asked what the general fund actually entailed. Check into that to see where that money was allotted. It specifically spelled out where the money was allotted, and then there was a section that said general fund, that was most of the money allotted.
Still don't have an answer to that question. is controlled by the state. You know, everything we vote on is gonna be voted on by the people. There's just certain criteria of what you can submit for a vote.
Oh, that still has to go above the town?
Yes. So it's not controlled by the government, it's not controlled by the state, solely controlled by the people, which is a benefit of it, so it won't be abused by, because a lot of people have a distrust of government. Whatever, or,
It's a tax on yourself to put into a preservation account to restore and save or purchase old buildings, land, property, conservation land. It was very positive.
and the deal is, everybody in the state who buys land or buys a house or a building pays into it. So everybody in the state's paid into it already. So the question is, do you want to let all the other cities and towns who have adopted the CPA get that money
That you're paying already.
that you're already paying, and every time you make a transaction that goes through the registry of deeds? Or do you want to bring some of that money back to Winchton? It was said on Facebook earlier to me personally, oh, you said it's free money, it's free, nothing's free. Well, granted, nothing is free. Somebody's paying for it. But the thing is, we're not paying for it. Somebody is paying
Almost
for it.
like a grant that you're not accepting.
Right. It's almost like money sitting out there saying, hey, come get me. And you're saying, nah, we don't want it. It's kind of like that.
Well, the thing is, too, is that the money that comes back to the town and the money that the town collects from the surcharge on its taxes goes into a specific fund. Certain percentages can only be spent on certain types of projects. Open space, affordable housing, historical preservation. Where the money is going to each year and what is actually spent is made up by a citizens committee called the CPC, Community Preservation Committee. So it's not even like the money goes into a fund and then it's either like the selectmen decide how it's gonna be spent or some politician decides. It's actually people appointed to a board. I've seen it used in like Tingsboro, for example, where the town had a large recreational lake that was bordered by a lot of properties. And it also had a large town beach with a recreational facility that the town ran. So they would contribute money to the treatment of the water of the lake to keep that open for that recreational value, which is allowable. So there's a lot of different worthwhile efforts that money can be spent on.
This committee, is this a new committee that would be developed for this? Or is this,
It would have to be, yep.
is that a voluntary committee, or are they gonna be paid employees of the city?
No, it's a voluntary committee.
It's voluntary. So the committee I sit on is called the CPAEC. It's Exploratory Committee. So what our job is to get the information out to the public to see if they want to put it on the town ballot to be voted on, whether or not to adopt it. So the first vote is gonna be whether to put it on the town ballot or not. And if they vote to not put it on town ballot, then it's dead right there. It doesn't go to town ballot to even attempt to get voted in. So we're trying hard to get the information out to people, because the uphill struggle we have is as soon as anybody hears tax increase, they go, nope, not having it.
Right.
We've seen that with overrides. We've had some very good overrides be presented, and people just say, tax increase? Nope. Like, hey, we need a new ambulance, because people, nope, not tax increase on my property. So, the hard sell is to get past that initial 30 seconds of the conversation. Because if you don't start it out positive, it's hard to recover once you go like this. Now, if you can kind of sail along and not take a nosedive, that's good, then you can go up. But to go up from down here, you can't even, it's hard to get even back to level playing field. So that's what we're up against. So, I'm generally not for government programs, because I generally have a healthy distrust for the government and what they do with money. But for this, I just think it's worthwhile, because the government's removed from it to a degree. The government does manage the money that comes in through the deeding and all that, but once it comes to town, we decide where it goes. And it cannot be taken for a slush fund. It cannot be taken for shortfalls here and there from other departments. It's gonna be used for what it's earmarked for, and that's it. There's no, oh, we didn't use this money, let's move it over to roads and construction. That can't be done.
For historical buildings, you'd be able to use it, like to fix a clock tower, for example,
Yes.
or something like that?
Yeah, things like that. And the beauty of it is, if you don't use it and you can't agree on a project, it just sits there and it just grows. So next year you'll have more. And that was kind of what we discussed already, was we'd like to not spend anything the first year and just let it build up. there was some talk of taking a bond out on it, meaning borrowing against it. And we decided we want to put rules in place or a clause in there saying no borrowing against it. You know, we don't want to be that town that does that, you know? Because that just always seems to not go good places. Other towns have done it. I saw it online that that's a big thing, you know, bonding against it and stuff, but the consensus is so far from the people we've talked to that we don't want to borrow against it, borrow against future funds, projected funds. So if there's no questions or serious concerns about it, we'd like to take a vote to at least support it. Sounds like Dave's on board.
Yep.
Lionel? And I
Give it
don't
a
know if you
shot,
need more
yeah.
clarification. I mean,
And my only concern was when we had, I was at that one meeting when it was brought up, where we had the PowerPoint slide, and I just had, the general funds was my main concern, was where that money had gone.
Now, that
Everything
money-
else,
It can't be controlled by the town manager, so to speak. That's what you're thinking.
And that money's supposed to be.
Once a project's approved, it still has to go to town meeting to spend,
Meetings, yeah.
be spent.
yeah. So it's basically, it's,
Whatever money's put up by us, the state
It's
has
still our money.
100%. Yeah.
so it's like it's like the government saying, hey, if you give us $100, we'll give you $200 back.
Yeah.
And we say, well, nothing's free. Well, it's free to us. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
The mic, she wants you to talk into the mic.
I mean,
Oh, I'm
we
not-
paid into it, but
in the mic.
we didn't pay 100% into it to get our 100% back. So, can I entertain a vote? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve, to support.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay, I'll write up a letter next week.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
I did have a question on the annual report. It's coming due. I don't have any templates on my computer, meaning that my predecessors either never wrote it or it's not in the database that I'm privy to right now. Did you guys want me to write the annual report, or, Mr. Chair, did you write the annual report?
No, I didn't. I mean, I did last year. That was the first year, the whole time I've been on, that I've actually been asked to write it. It's, up till then, it had just taken care of itself. If you know what I mean. I never heard about it.
Yeah, that's.
All right, then I'll write up the annual report.
Audience, they hate doing those.
And that's exactly what I told them when they asked me why it was late. I said, it's always just taking care of itself. Nobody's told me anything about it. So,
No, I'll write up the letter for support for the CPC and get the annual report into them at the same time.
thank you.
Yep. I just wasn't clear on who wrote it here.
So, we can't bring up anything under new business anymore? Is that what you just told me?
Right.
What about old business?
I don't think anything can be brought up that wasn't advertised because the people aren't here to talk about it, if they're abutters or if they're actually involved.
What about if we want to put something on next month's agenda?
That's business we can talk about.
So I think there's a couple things that I know that have gone by the way, not by the wayside, but I think should have been before us by now that haven't. One was the, his name escapes me, the gentleman at the lake with the excavator. He was supposed to have plans in front of us. I think we should send him a letter. But we'll put it on the agenda for next month and discuss whether we should send him a letter, make it legal. Or send him a fine, because we haven't heard from him.
Well, that's actually an administrative action, so if you want something like that on the agenda, you'd have to have the chair set that. But if you wanted, like, something on a follow-up, just send me an email saying, hey, have you heard anything back? Because that's normal.
Well,
business, so.
I think we should. I think, that was a pretty egregious violation. I know I personally got quite a few calls on it, and we have not heard from the gentleman, so I think it needs some action. So do you want to send him a letter, Matt, or,
Yeah, I'm making a note on it.
okay?
That's the one on Monadnock East?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll add that to the agenda.
Yeah, Matt, we have to get some kind of clarification on that because,
Yeah, that makes it tough.
say, I get a phone call the night before a meeting because somebody's doing something It's gonna be done by the time we can discuss it, if we can't talk about it and make a decision to take action.
Well, if there's somebody doing something and you learn about it, like, for example, and I mean, this is just something that's, you know, on our agenda, even though it's not under new business or anything, but if there's something that comes up, like, for example, Lionel spotted something, he went to the office, I wasn't in that particular day, he went into the office, let Nicole know about it, Nicole let me know about it, I went up, looked at it, said, yep, we got a problem here, I sent out a violation notice. That all happened within like a one-day span. So yesterday, he spotted it, went to Nicole. Nicole called me yesterday. Today, when I came up, I went up, checked it out, came into the office, wrote up the letter, sent it out. That'll actually be on our next agenda, that particular item I'm talking about.
Okay.
If there's something going on in town that you want checked out, regardless if it's on an agenda or not, just email me and let me know. Or call Nicole and let her know, and I'll go check it out.
But the thing is, if you do that, don't copy anybody else, don't copy everyone, because that's kind of daisy chaining and it constitutes a quorum, so just make your letter to Matt. and
Correct.
maybe me,
Well,
but don't
Matt,
copy the whole board on it.
make it to me, the chair, and Nicole. You can do that, but you can't copy the entire board, because that's a violation of the open meeting law. So any communications you guys do, can't be too, like, in other words, you can't pass a message to the chair. The chair can't take that same message and relay it to you.
Right.
And then you can't relay it to Melissa, because that's that's the same thing in serial form. And the state really frowns on that, because in that mind, it looks deliberate. But there are, you know, if you want specifics items on under new or old business, they would have to be listed individually.
Okay, where are we at on the agenda here?
Well, apparently Mr. Deline isn't gonna come this evening, so we're pretty much done now.
I might have it from another phone.
Okay, and one thing also that town council said when he was here was kind of counter to what you said, where if you're not here for the meeting, he said you should not sign the minutes when they approve the minutes. You said if it takes a quorum and you're there and you can make a quorum even though you weren't at the meeting. You
See,
weren't
I
there
was
to-
told the opposite by town council.
You weren't there to take those votes, and you weren't there to participate in the meeting, so that's what he said. He didn't say it was against policy, but he said it's not a good idea. Pretty much what he said, so we get clarification on that. So it was actually very helpful what you said, if we could get them put to bed, so to speak, with a quorum.
Well, I know it's perfectly legal for you to sign it. If he's saying it's just bad policy, I'd like to discuss it with him
Okay,
as to how it would constitute bad policy, so.
all right. We'll
I
talk
will
about it.
discuss that.
Okay, so if nothing else, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Need a second. Does anybody second a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.